Hello, I'm going to basically just start screen recording, doing all this stuff. I originally had my video up, and then I saw that I looked like a FNAF animatronic, if you know from FNAF 1 when it starts glitching back and forth and like looking creepy, like when Bonnie in the corner or whatever. So I'm not going to be doing it like that. However, my voice is still here, and we're gonna look through this address. We're gonna look through comments that may or may not get removed. We'll see. This is a long address. I've read part of it. I already have one thing to say. I believe this is the case. I don't know that much about automod, but this is how it works usually. Um, if something is posted, it gets removed immediately by automod if it's, you know, it flags one of their things within a couple minutes. It's not immediate. However, it's immediate enough that if something stays up for 30 minutes and then gets removed by quote unquote automod, means it was either removed, or at least it's my belief that I don't know for sure, but that it was either removed by a mod themselves or by quote unquote automod when after its rules get updated to include more terms, right? So like technically it could get removed by automod a long time after posting if you update automod to remove posts with certain keywords in them. However, if automod is being updated to remove certain keywords and it's predominantly removing posts from people that are in support of trans men, I think that speaks for itself for the most part. So I guess I'll go ahead and read through this post. State of the subreddit. I think this is the same title as last time. To be clear, like, think about how many things they've had to post so far, and it's just not effective. Now think about how many things I had to post for my words to be effective. Why is that? It's because I posted something that follows strict and complete. It's airtight logic wise. All right. None of these statements are airtight logic wise. They're all just weird diplomatic, trying to like. Yeah, it's the kind of thing you kind of statement you expect from a politician. Now, I can also speak like a politician. Here's the difference though. I'm on the right side here. I know what's going on. Um and I'm calling out injustice when I see it. That's kind of the point, right? So, I guess we'll get right on to here. Community only. Okay. Hi all, I'm here again to give you an update on the state of the subreddit and to hopefully answer some of the questions we've seen. I know some of you don't believe us when we say that we hear everything you're saying. I mean, I believe you when you say you hear everything we're saying. Hearing is not necessarily the same um as listening, right? You can read everything without listening. Or understanding, comprehending, internalizing, agreeing with any of these things, but we are listening. Oh, there we go. I just a few words later, we are listening. No, I don't know about that. Are you listening in the same way that I mean, yeah, I don't know. I promise. Okay. So nice of you. You know what? I'll take your word for it for now. We can't respond to it all immediately because we just don't have the resources for it, and we want to make sure our messaging is clear and doesn't leave anyone feeling ignored. Okay, here's something funny. Messaging. What are you, the Democratic Party? I'm sorry. It's not about messaging, it's about policy. Yeah, you can I don't think it's a messaging issue. I'm sorry, dog. I don't know. I will not use dog just 'cause that could be considered a more masculine term. I will use feminine terms and pronouns for this moderator, obviously. I use dog for like everyone. I almost just said it again at the end of that sentence. It's clear and doesn't leave anyone feeling ignored. You can't. Oh, there's this quote from Hassan. You can't podcast your way out of a problem. And this is the same, but it's just post. You can't post your way out of this problem. You need action, and you won't get anything unless action is taken and found. And that action includes removing certain moderators and adding certain moderators and being transparent about how those mods are added. If you didn't see the update on our previous post, I have. I'll give a quick rundown of what we've done to make this place even better. We've added new flares. Okay, good. That is good. We're actively reviewing moderator applications. You've only received 10. That's actually a decent amount. And only 4 are from trans masks. Yeah, I was considering saying, hey, I'd love to be a mod, but at the same time, I don't want to. I debated it because here's the thing: I would be a great mod on that subreddit, but I'm not trans mask exactly. If you're a trans mask person, please apply by filling out this form. Note, previous experience moderating subreddits or other communities is highly preferred but not mandatory. This is interesting to me because it still leaves room for everyone. So, basically, from my estimation, my guess is based on this wording, if you are highly qualified, well, they could still pick someone who fits better that isn't highly qualified, but just so happens to align with their values. And if you aren't highly qualified, they can say, well, we prefer highly qualified. Here's this person who agrees with us that we're going to bring onto the mod team, right? So, let's see. Why is my voice all shaky and stuff? I think it's because I'm trying to keep it mostly down because I got other people in this house. I want to be respectful to them. We have not been removing posts. Our auto moderator has. It is extremely strict for the safety of our community. The fact many posts and comments have had to be manually reapproved by our moderators. Oh, in fact. Now here's the thing. Auto moderator, I think I mentioned this already. I think I said this already. Just to reiterate, auto moderator removes posts immediately if it's based on keywords or something like that. Or maybe it's like if it's by certain flagged users, right? And so, if there are still examples of people getting their posts removed 30 minutes or an hour later, and it's by automod, it must be because they changed what automod can and can't remove, and probably made it more strict. Okay. They can absolutely make auto moderator more lenient. It's very easy to do. I've even done it and I haven't even gone into the programming part. So it is very easy. It's not targeting posts or comments related to the current issue specifically or disproportionately. Well, we can collect data on whether it is being removed disproportionately or not. I think that's pretty simple to do. You look at every single post that's made on the subreddit, and then you see which ones are getting removed and which ones are not getting removed. I think that's pretty simple. I'm not gonna just take your word for it. I'm gonna look at which ones end up getting removed and which ones don't. All right. We removed the divisive post rule. Shouldn't have been there to begin with, but okay. That's a good thing. We're actively reviewing the rest of our rules and are open to community feedback. Okay. Uh, Actively reviewing the rest of our rules. Nice. Um, Again, it sounds kind of like a nothing burger if you ask me. If you have more suggestions, please let us know, either here or via mod mail at any point. Please note that we may not be able to accommodate all suggestions. So this is really just a like. Please make sure you ask our permission for these things. We need to agree. We need to agree to implement these rules. And while we may agree in some way, there are some rules we just simply can't. We simply can't implement. And okay, you're the one that gets to decide which ones can be implemented and which can't. Do you see why that doesn't sound very trustworthy? Next order of business, we need to get some things straight. Trans men are men, no one has said otherwise. Trans women are women, no one has said otherwise. Non-binary people are valid and real. Truscum are not welcome here. I don't know what Truscum is. Uh, what is Truscum? Truscum is the term for people that gender dysphoria that believe it's essential to being transgender. Yeah, okay. I would agree that no, you don't need dysphoria to be transgender. That's dumb. Truscum is bad. Um, yep, Truscum are not welcome here. We actually don't know where the messaging got crossed on this. Again, stop talking about messaging, dog. Please. For your own sake, stop talking about messaging. Again, this just sounds like the Democratic Party, all right? Our moderation team is very firm about these things and has always been and always has been. Okay. I not according to a lot of people in this subreddit. Also, by the way, to be clear, I myself haven't been on this subreddit for a while just because like it didn't feel welcoming. And that's as a trans femme, all right? That's so very firm about these things. I don't know what to say about that. We're very concerned by all the posts implying that anyone ever said trans men aren't men. What? What is this, please? We're very concerned by all the posts implying that anyone ever said trans men aren't men. This is, again, it's just like symptomatic of that weird same way of thinking. First of all, you don't need to say trans men aren't men in order to get some flack. Why? Because you're the moderators of a subreddit for trans people. You need to be, the bar needs to be higher. The bar needs to be really high. Why? You're affecting the lives of 609,000 people or more, probably more, because not everyone who visits a sub is a member. This is like a weird. Would you really call it a straw man? I mean, you could. It's the way where it's like no one is saying that you didn't outright say the words. No one is outright saying that you said the words. Maybe there are. I haven't seen anyone saying that because that was never something any of us have said here, nor is it something we believe. Again, the whole point of all this just sounds like a way of avoiding accountability, and I don't like that. You don't need to include that in your statement, and you've include messages like this in some form or another every single quote unquote state of the subreddit you've made. We've had lengthy discussions with the moderator who removed the original post, and we are confident the action was done in good faith. Hey, surely you've seen my response to you guys by now. You still haven't mentioned anything about talking to It's Your Bro, the guy who is affected by this. So when you once again mention how much discussing you're having with the moderator who removed the original post, once again, I'll say this and repeat it from my original post. You are making trans men feel that their voices are beneath consideration because you're again not talking to them. Just not. But the post should not have been removed, and the moderator involved has fully acknowledged and admitted their mistake. Okay, do you think that we all are under the assumption that admitting your mistake under pressure means you will never do the same sort of thing again? Come on. I think they've also done the same stuff multiple times before and didn't get as much pushback because those trans men were willing. Well, not willing. They just kind of took it, right? So, again, I can't see this as anything with ground to stand on. We just have to, a lot of this discussion is stuff we just have to take your word on. The mod who originally removed the post did so with the belief that it was largely discussing something that either talked over other people, knew that the post was going to cause arguments in the comments, and just generally felt that the post was combative. They have acknowledged that these beliefs are incorrect, which is why we brought the post back. Okay, coming back to this, you really seem to be magnifying the voice of the so to speak, perpetrator in this situation, and specifically not that of trans men. I find that interesting. Why are you coming to this mod's defense so much? We ultimately don't care what they thought led to that removal. If that kind of post gets removed, it's an issue. We do not have a conservative mod on our team. This is more about how Reddit moderation works and has been a vastly misconstrued understanding of the situation. I saw a comment addressing this below, saying that yes, this is a conservative mod, or at the very least is allowing conservative things to be posted. I will also mention that same moderator has deleted their comments and posts, like all of them. That I will need to actually confirm. Shouldn't have said that in the first place if I don't have something confirmed. Let's see. Gay conservatives mods were all banned, leaving the subreddit open to be taken by a mod. The mod in question saw the opportunity to take control of the subreddit to remove the vast amounts of hate there, to prevent further radicalization and garbage by taking the reins, so they did. From what I heard, it's still not a good subreddit. So, okay. If it's better, congrats. But if this mod is participating in it and is, doing all that stuff, and by participating, I mean participating in agreement with the things said, then yeah, Yeah, I think that means nearly nothing if they say that they did it for that reason. Usually when these subs are taken over, we close them down and turn them into a placeholder subreddit to redirect traffic to safer spaces. They couldn't do that in this case as a population who was already there was extremely toxic. And if they did that, then they just create a new, just as toxic subreddit. Okay. They also can't just leave the subreddit Don't worry, there's no video or anything. Thank you. Sorry, I got jump scared by some food. What on earth was I saying? Usually when they're taken over, we close them down and turn them into a placeholder subreddit to redirect traffic to safer spaces. They couldn't do that in this case as a population. Yep. They also can't just leave it, as doing so would allow the sub to be taken over by toxic trolls again, and no one wants that. I've done this before. You can hire another or get another moderator on, or more than one moderator on, wait some time to see if they actually do good moderating, and then leave yourself. I think that's pretty simple. Or not leave, regardless. Here's the thing. I think it's also an issue because this moderator isn't exactly, isn't gradually phasing it out, essentially. We do have trans masks on our team, currently 2 to 3 depending on availability and activity levels. We'd like more, but believe it or not, not very many people apply to moderate here, as seen above. 10 is a good bit, and 4 trans masks is also a decent bit, all right? Yeah. Not very many people apply, yeah. We do have trans masks. As far as whether you have trans masks on, you have less trans masks on now than you did before. And I think there's a reason why that is. Also, are these trans masks in a high up enough position to have any say whatsoever in your moderating decisions? Like, here's the thing. If they're low down and you're just saying, oh, we have trans mask mods, it's just tokenism. Alright? I hope you recognize that. Oh, we have a trans man on the sub, but he has very little power over anything, or they have very little power over everything, or whatever, you know. I don't know any of their individual pronouns. So, yeah. Oh, we're aware of the 2 mods who left, so that is addressed. Yes, sometimes mods of the subreddit disagree on how to handle certain situations, but no, we do not token. I said it before I even read that. Well, what you just did, I would argue, if they don't have any real power over moderating, is a kind of tokenism. Any subset of the trans community. Our moderators work really hard, are unpaid volunteers. Yeah, you're describing Reddit mods, and are completely dedicated to this community. You're describing normal mods. There's nothing special about being an unpaid volunteer as a Reddit mod. They wouldn't be here if they weren't. All voices are held equal. I thought they were all handpicked by you. They wouldn't be here if they weren't. They wouldn't be here if they weren't who you wanted them to be. All voices here are held equal. Again, we're hearing this from you. We're not hearing this from the rest of the community, who are the people that get to be the judges of whether all voices here are held equal. You can't just make that as a statement and expect it to receive no pushback. you don't get to decide whether all voices here are whether they're you don't get to decide whether the community sees it that way. And the community doesn't see it that way because that is not how it is. Alright, we're the two mods who left. The last thing we're gonna do is throw anyone under the bus right now. What? What do you mean? We appreciate the time that they spent with us. Did you consider throwing them under the bus at any point? What's that? I'm what other way can I interpret that? You considered throwing those people under the bus, or maybe you didn't consider it ever at any point. Why did it come up in your mind that you think we would assume that you want to do that? It what? No one thinks that. I mean, no one thought you wanted to throw those people under the bus, but now that you're bringing it up, I'm like, did you consider doing that? You also, I mean, you did also kind of say like, "Oh, I got salty about the fact that this moderator left without telling us." So I mean, I I mean, it's not throwing him under the bus, but it's deflecting blame. It's deflecting blame onto him, you know? Again, sorry for my voice wavering and stuff. I think it's just because I'm trying to speak quietly for the most part. Alrighty. Also, I'm not like crying or anything. I mean, if I was, I have recently, but like, yeah. Now the question is, why would someone do this? Sadly, we don't have a great answer to that, as we really don't know entirely. Oh, wait, some things we saw. I see. Oh, I just scrolled down and forgot where I was. We think what happened was an organized disinformation brigade. From who? From the mod team, as in infiltration in the mod team to drive trans people against each other, or by the users. We don't know exactly who orchestrated it. And we're working with Reddit admins? Wait, what? To sift through that? Holy shit. It really is us versus the fucking institution, isn't it? Versus the fucking establishment. To sift through that. I think there may be an organized disinformation thing going on. If you are talking to Reddit admins, maybe we should start talking to Reddit admins, because what the fuck is this? We're working with Reddit admins. You're going to present your side of the story. You're going to say we think there's brigading going on here. I'll tell you what, we're not doing any of that stuff. I took several measures, including saying, hey, we'll ban anyone that does this, to avoid doing so. So if you come to the conclusion that I, in any part, had to do with this, good luck. But the numbers on our subreddit insights indicate we started seeing extremely unusual activity in the 24 hours prior to this all starting. Okay, we are in contact. Maybe there is something going on. I'll be clear about that. But I mean, I have known for a while that this is how the mod team is there, just as a whole. We're in contact with Reddit administrators. All signs at this time point to this being a coordinated attack by outside agitators. Okay, so who are you implicating in this most? You're implicating this guy. Oh, no, you're not. Well, up to here, that's who I assumed you were implicating, is this guy. Was not a part of it. That he was a part of it. We believe some bad faith trolls were prepared to do this and took advantage of some pretty standard operating procedures on the subreddit to turn a misunderstanding into a much bigger issue. No, there's a real issue. Like, what? As far as if there are people that I will notice, I did see more trans posts in Anarchy Chess also like 24 hours prior. Should I just look at that right now, actually? Let me see if there are unusual insights 24 hours prior in here, too. I know we got involved later, but who knows? We may as well check. Insights. July 12th. What the fuck? Was that before or after our post here? I think it would be before. That is unusual. When was my post? Da 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 da. Okay, this was 2 days ago. What? When? When? Sunday, July 13th. This. Okay. There might be some validity to this. Of there being some form of coordinated thing. Now, I'll tell you what, it wasn't organized by anyone in this mod team. I can, if you want, I can show you the Discord we have. I'd have to figure out how I do that. Just everything in general. I mean, I think you guys can assume. Yeah, I'll release DMs in here if necessary, but I also don't. Yeah, I also want to make sure the other mods are fine with that first. Uniques. Okay. Members went way up. This is also on July 12th? This is interesting and, yes, unusual insights. I don't know what to say about this. I understand 100% a want to interact and talk with Reddit admins about this. I would like to be involved in this too, considering that these are unusual insights as well. There is also a possibility correlation does not equal causation. I would love to see the insights of a completely unrelated subreddit and see if they also show that kind of uptick. If every subreddit has that kind of uptick, it may just be something else, but we'll see. Google Trends. I don't know if this is it, but let's just say Google Trends Reddit past 5 days or something. I know people use an app as well, but just cause. Reddit. Let's see how this is doing. Past 5 days. Past hour. Past 7 days. That's fine. July 12th. July 13th. Oh, these are per day. I don't see anything unusual. You know, I don't see a big uptick randomly anywhere here. So, I don't think it's site-wide. I would like to see what's going on here. I'll tell you what. Actually, there was a post that we removed recently in Anarchy Chess. Let's see. Mod log. Do we have that? Mod log. A lot of this is me recently. Yeah. Based removal. Wait. Trans women aren't men? They're what? That doesn't even make any sense. What? Alright. I don't know what to say. Where was it? Where was that post? Post remove. By the way, to be clear, I'm removing brigading stuff. Although I did say please change the title. However, I said change the title because I would consider a declaration of war, so to speak, to be wanting to brigade, right? I think that's understandable. Just asking them to repost with a new title. Where is that one bit? There was a post. Yeah, this one. This one. This post. Which is us? It's some sneaky shit. Some sneaky shit. Which is us? Are we the trans people or the Nazis? That's basically the question. It's not up for debate. I I don't know what else to say. This question makes it so that it leaves it open for either answer to be an acceptable one. It's a leading question with the premise that either answer or both or whatever is acceptable. I removed a fuck ton of things under here, and I had originally, and kind of think more now, that this might be the result of bots. However, that doesn't mean the moderators of r/trans are not accountable for something. And yes, they treat trans men differently. I've known this. This has been a thing for more than a year. Okay? So I don't get it. Now, I have seen some stuff like people using the term misinjury for things that don't sound like the exact same thing as what is being said, and I've seen that word spread around a different way, and I think that may be a weird part of it. I'm not sure. To be honest, I'm not educated enough. So I'm not gonna say what I think is and isn't, whatever. Misinjury in terms of individual events does absolutely occur. Systemic misinjury, no, I do not believe so. However, I also am respectful in my opinion and understand other people's that other people have different experiences. Okay, bad faith trolls were prepared to do this and took advantage of some pretty standard operating procedures to turn the subreddit or to turn into a misunderstanding into a much bigger issue. I think it should be a bigger issue because this is the way you've been operating for a long time. Took advantage of some pretty standard operating procedures. Yeah, that's kind of the issue. The issue is the fact that they're pretty standard. I think that's what the issue is. Our team knows it's your bro 7777. It's not part of this brigade, but that whoever started this used their vulnerable moment. Oh, wait, used their vulnerable moment to attack our subreddit. I'll tell you what. It's your bro is happy about what's going on right now. Why is that? I'm just saying, why is that? Come on. You can't deflect all blame here. Some things we saw. Our subscriber count saw more than double the average daily increase prior to the attack. Let's look at this. Did I move on to... Oh. Is it more than double for us? Oh, what the fuck? Oh, this is... Yeah. The average is... Yeah, I would say it's also more than average. Oh, this is that other one. The thing we removed, to be clear. All right. Yeah. Malicious actors will often subscribe to subreddits to try and appear to be legitimate members for a purpose of avoiding anti-brigade filters. Well, I noticed the same thing happened to Anarchy Chess. So maybe there's been a real serious coordinated thing going on. I'd love to learn about that and find out what's going on. Comment sections were filled with the same users over and over, boosting the comment count and spreading the same disinformation faster than we could manage it. I think there could be disinformation being spread. Some of the stuff is interesting to say the least. I've also seen people saying stuff specifically anti-trans mask, and I'm like, this feels like they're trying to sow division. But again, like, none of this exonerates you. Okay? And stop acting like it does, please. Okay? If you want, maybe I can apply to be a mod for your guys' stuff too, just to help out, alright? Posts specifically related to the current issues were heavily upvoted, which is common in this situation, but also any posts unrelated to it were downvoted, which is more indicative of an effort from outside the community. Okay. I'll take your word for that. I don't know what the case is. Again, effort outside the community is not... Yeah. If it's something coordinated and something in bad faith in breaking Reddit's TOS, I do not agree with it. Biggest offenders had no other history in trans subs. Okay. This I'm kind of glad to hear because they said the biggest offenders. I was worried they considered me an offender because I went against them, essentially. I have history in trans subs, specifically trans 2. Where is it? I've been doing more mod work down like here somewhere where trans is. Chanarchy Chess, trans 2. So yeah, I hope that means they don't consider me one of the quote biggest offenders. I am standing up for trans men. Even if you tried to argue that I did some misguided thing, right? Most didn't even have history in queer subs at all. This could, of course, be from a standard Reddit brigade, but we feel this may be something worse. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Now, the question is, why would someone do this? Sadly, we don't have a great answer. We don't really know entirely. It could be to sow division within our community and fracture us. I do think there's an effort to sow division and fracture us. And every step of the way, even when I criticize the mods, I say that kind of thing. Anytime it's like someone goes too far with the like I've seen posts from people that are like trans men are men and trans women suck or something like that, and it's like, no, that's not how it works. Could be they find it fun, or maybe someone wants to take control of the narrative. Yeah, this also makes sense. I think there's something going on. I don't know what the fuck is going on, and I don't like it. Especially under this current administration, the Trump administration. Despite that, we did receive some valid feedback from all this. We don't want to lose that when we can use it to make our subreddit better. We will make our subreddit better. We will always make sure to listen to feedback given to our subreddit, use it to create a place that everyone wants to be in. Okay. What's next? We're reviewing our rules, see how to loosen them up a little so people don't feel silenced. We'll let you know when those changes go into place so you can take a look for yourselves and offer feedback. We have already removed our divisive posts rule as the biggest offender, but want to keep improving. Okay. We're working on bringing on more mods. We can't just bring in everyone immediately. I get that. As we do not need queer people. Wait, what? Oh, as we do need queer people we can all trust. Make it public. Please. We prefer active members of the community by far. But our goal is 1 to 3 new additions by the end of this month. By the end of the month? Why? Okay. Hopefully with more in the future. Again, I don't like the structured approach to stuff. I think that's part of the issue. I think that also makes it easier for your mod team to get infiltrated, and you may consider that paradoxical. But it's true. It's easier to get infiltrated. Think about how Anarchy Chess so far has dealt with this weird influx in Reddit insights compared to your own community. Your own community, because of the structured stuff, you're just spending all the time defending yourself in a weird way, and you caused good moderators to leave. So, yeah. Posts about the event will be removed, and we will go back to banning instigators. Okay, you can't just stop it. You just can't expect everyone to stop talking about stuff. You can and should talk in this post all you want about it, but we're removing comments from those who are not regular community members. What? I've heard people say posts are already getting removed. Comments are already getting removed under this post. This is inconsistent, okay? Especially if the user is starting problems. Remember, the subreddit is a place built for inclusivity. I wish it was. Well, built for inclusivity. I wish it was inclusive right now. This means we welcome binary and non-binary people, trans masks, trans femmes, and other NB identities alike, and we are adamant on focusing on that goal. You talked like half this thing about messaging, so I don't know. I think part of it is also covering your own asses. I think there are multiple people accountable. Perhaps there isn't weird like influx invasion by people. Yes, that doesn't mean that you're flawless though either. And I think an address like this is, again, action is what we need. Most of our moderation is manual. Interesting, everything's getting deleted by automod then. Our team members have full-time jobs and lives, and we can't see everything. That's understandable. We need our community support report problematic situations so we can talk about them and resolve them. The world isn't kind to people like us right now. The last thing we want is more division in the safe spaces we've all created together. Coming together is more important than ever, and we want all of our siblings to feel completely safe here. That is the most important thing to us. Okay. First of all, this. Yeah. Let's see. Is there any reply? Thank you for the explanation. Yeah, see full discussion. Mod originally removed the post did so with the belief that it was largely discussing something that the problem that this happened in the first place. It reflects a particular bias or assumptions or set of beliefs. Yep. Is presumed combative or presumed just as legitimate as other parts. Yeah. Yeah. That you really haven't acknowledged how harmful that specifically was to remove a post reflecting so many survivors' experiences. What message that sends. Anyone can have those attitudes or biases. They really shouldn't be acceptable for mods here. It takes time and serious effort to really change those. It's a deeper process than like giving a secondhand indirect explanation, not even apology really. I understand why that mod's act of transphobia didn't lead to removal, while the one who used a slur was rightfully removed. Yeah. First of all, let me just comment, because having looked at the insights, I figure that's important to mention. Yeah, I think it's E first. Weird behavior. Why did I just try to spell that the British way? There's some validity to weird behavior. Enough. Also, what specifically part of insights? What is this? This is activity. Okay. Activity also doubled in anarchy chess. On the 12th, before any statements were put out, there may in fact be something, some coordination regarding various queer subreddits, and anarchy chess is a queer subreddit. Maybe in fact some coordination regarding various queer subreddits. That said, I want to say I don't have any involvement in that, but also I think that's obvious. Also I'll mention, we noticed some problematic posts promoting neo-Nazi thinking rhetoric. How about that? In anarchy chess. And have taken such things down, but like it is odd as fuck. Two things can be true at the same time though. You are still accountable. Oh no, this issue is long term and has been going on for so long, for years. It has been years. If you are working with Reddit admins, I would like to join in as well as insights. What is that? Not insights. Insights have, I guess I did spell it wrong somehow, similarly doubled in our subreddit. And I do think there is validity to the idea. There is something else weird going on now. Okay, its insights have similarly doubled in our subreddit, and I do think there is validity to the idea. There is something else weird going on now. Let's post this now. And yeah, I don't know. It does feel weird as hell. They're deleting, yep. I have screen recording on now. That comment is what inspired me to do my own screen recording alongside that commentary. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not gonna leak DMs or anything between me and mods. Yeah, I'm just looking at this public stuff. I say you're encouraging more trans mask mods. Yeah. Actually, what if I just end things here? Because this is a long enough video this will turn into, or turn out to be. As always, don't harass people. It's dumb. It's fucked up. I don't like it. It's, yeah, just don't do any of that. Yes, these people are all human. Yes, they have all these mods. The ones who haven't left are still complicit with what is going on. But yeah, this is weird. It may be a correlation versus causation thing. I don't know. Maybe there's more activity in the queer subreddit, and more activity means that there's a higher likelihood that when someone's post gets removed, they speak out about it, something happens. That may be the case. I don't know. At the same time, though, yeah, this is interesting. Members, I haven't actually checked. They mentioned a difference in members. I have not checked. We do have an increase in members. This is not a graph of members, though. Yeah. What on earth is this? We went from subscribers 192 to subscribers 1,376. That's more than 2 times. That's 7 or 8 times. Is that right? That's a lot. I I don't know what is responsible for this. It is weird. I do think there's something going on. And I think perhaps this brigading that seems like it's happening is in fact related to the outrage against the r/trans mod team. But again, 2 things can be true at the same time. There may be a brigading campaign in effect, and perhaps that triggered something in the r/trans community. However, the way that those mods act is still the same. It's how they've been acting, and we are still fed up for valid reasons. What I'll say is, do not, in your anger towards anyone, if you have any anger towards anyone, I avoid and do my best to not to feel sympathy for these people and not be angry at them, and just, you know, try to work towards something. Do not in your anger get swept up into saying the wrong things or doing the wrong things because you're on quote unquote the right side. If there is some kind of weird disinformation campaign going on right now, don't follow the hive mind. Stand by your principles. Yeah, that's really stand by your principles. Um, I tried. I've been doing that. I'll call out people on both sides of this stuff. There are people on the uh, anti-transmod team side that said some fucked up shit. And I am anti saying fucked up shit. So, yeah. I just having seen this, I would say be so fucking careful, please. Um, I will probably speaking of that, that one mod of Arsage Trans still hasn't talked to It's Your Bro 7777. I will talk to him again. To be clear, he is not as active right now because of just general real life stuff, all right? So, but I will reach out to him again and tell him, hey, there seems to be some validity to the fact that this may be getting taken advantage of in some way. Um, However, again, it may just be correlation. I don't fucking know what's going on, all right? Um, but yeah, that's what I have to say. I'll make another recording, more recordings. I need to eat my food, so I'm gonna do that now. All right, see ya. Meow meow. Goodbye. Trans men are men, trans women are women. Respect everyone. Intersectionality is important. All of that stuff. Again, just, yeah. Everyone, be good humans. Use your judgment and recognize what is and isn't, doesn't go alongside core values, and what does and doesn't address and include empathy in it. And hopefully that'll help you make the right decisions even when there's weird shit like this going on. Alrighty.